Moose Club.
So the one thing that Bill told us when we got the gig was that this is all about people dancing and having a good time. So, you know, we knew that we had a tendency to make a song 10 minutes long and get all carried away. But we didn't do that. We'd extend it once in a while, but we kept it like that. We kept it real, and he was happy. And as long as he was making money, right? That was it. You and Gary were paying the whole rent thing, right?
Yeah, we had a lease for the whole month, the whole year. Every Friday night for, till I got drafted. But you haven't mentioned one thing that I would, what I remember kind of odd is what you did the best. What I thought in those days in my mind was your Elvis Presley.
Oh,
he didn't bring it up, but everybody that came in there thought this was the, Elvis Presley of the Bay Area at that time. He did a great Elvis impression. He really did.
Thank you very much.
with all the singing and guitar and everything.
Now, did you actually play Elvis tunes in your band at that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did, but we played everything. But that was what people wanted to hear. We did what was on the radio, and like I said, what was danceable, because we listened to Bill, and there were some great dancers, man. I mean, there was this one guy named Gabe. I don't know whether you remember him. Gabe.
I remember the name.
Vargas.
Yeah.
And this guy danced so well. He'd get in the middle of the floor, and everybody would stop dancing and gather around him and watch this guy and his girlfriend. And they were just phenomenal, And then, of course, we'd end the song so everybody could get back into it before they left, But it was great, and we never had any problem. There was like no riots, no violence, no thefts.
Just fisticuffs. A lot of fights with one of my best friends, not best friends, but a friend of my best friends was a guy named Frank Camilleri that was one of the biggest known fighters, but he was the nicest guy in the world. He said, "No trouble tonight, Bill." And then 2 hours later, he'd be fighting somebody inside the club.
So, I didn't remember that.
So what years are we talking here?
I didn't remember that.
58 to 60. I got drafted in 60.
Oh, those are prime early rock and roll years.
Yeah, with me it was 60.
And that he mentioned earlier when he was playing, in the Moose Club. That's when I met accidentally this guy named Manny Schwartz, who was the big promoter I didn't know in the whole western states. He lived in San Leandro. I was putting a flyer up at this restaurant in San Leandro, and at a pole right in front of the restaurant, and this little gray-haired bald guy come up to me. He says, "Is that your show? Or you have anything to do with that show?" I said, "Yeah, it's a dance we do every Friday." That's how I got involved with that show that got you in with Fats Domino, Dwayne Eddy. I went on.
Yeah.
I worked with him at the Oakland Auditorium with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh yeah.
What you call it? All this. Anybody who had a hit blues or whatever, Manny Schwartz was the guy.
Wow.
The only thing he didn't have anything to do with was Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's how you got on that show, was because of my thing with Manny, and he used me as the local promoter.
What a mind blower that was. Here I am, all of a sudden, I'm with these superstars, and it was at the small little Carpenter's Hall over here. I'm on the
That
bill
was
with
Dwayne Eddy.
Dwayne Eddy. And I was watching him on American Bandstand one week, and then I'd be on the same bill with him. The same way with just being at the right place at the right time. But he's a guy that started that. And that's how I got to see, if I did Friday night for him, that opened up Saturday night for me to play the Newark Pavilion or the Vets Hall. Like I do Jan and Dean at the Vets Hall in Oakland, But every Friday night I knew I had that gig. And that had to be great. because it was so comforting with all the people dancing there. At the other shows, I had to go out there and like just kill it. Everybody was standing room only in those halls, right? So you had to go out there and do 3 songs and just rip everybody up. So I started getting real wild and doing stuff, and branching out. I didn't have my band, so I thought, well, I'm going to be on the bill with all these other people. Paulette DeMello was a great singer. I don't remember her, but, and go out there, be on the bill with Mel and Jerry. They had a Warner Brothers contract, Joe Simon, all the ideas. And then, of course, after that came the Garden, but I cut my teeth with this guy.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Rock and Roll in the area at that time. I so wish I was older that I could have taken advantage of that and been a part of that, let alone just to see it. That's an amazing legacy you two have here.
Well, I think that, like anything else, though, you were a big part of the legacy that came after that, because the Battle of the Bands was a legacy in its own. All those people that got started there. I remember seeing Y&T there one night, So, I mean, but starting here, getting on TV was really great, because when I went to the Garden of Allah, and Bill had moved on,
To Korea.
yeah. Yeah, that's quite a switch. But at the Garden of Allah,